Your breakfast this morning probably came out of a box, a plastic wrapper, or a drive-thru window. You grabbed it in a rush, scarfed it down while checking emails or navigating traffic, and by 10 in the morning, your stomach was already growling again. We call this progress, but somewhere along the way, we traded nourishment for speed and soul for convenience. Right now, in the heart of Mexico City, an elderly woman named Doña Elena wakes up at 3 in the morning. She lights a fire under a heavy clay pot that has been in her family for 3 generations. She begins grinding dried corn that was soaked overnight in lime water, using a stone slab that is worn smooth over decades of daily work. By 6 in the morning, her street corner smells like toasted grain, simmering chilies, and slow-cooked pork. She's making tamales de mole and hot, thick atole, a traditional corn-based breakfast drink that has sustained working people in this valley for over 1,000 years. But here's the terrifying part. Her children do not want to learn the recipe. The young people in the neighborhood are standing in a line down the block, waiting to buy sugary iced coffees and factory-made breakfast sandwiches from a global chain store that opened 6 months ago. Within our lifetime, Doña Elena's clay pot will go cold for the last time, and 1,000 years of culinary history will vanish from that street corner forever. This is not just happening in Mexico. It is happening in every major city on Earth, from the historic alleyways of Rome to the neon-lit streets of Tokyo, and right here in American towns. We are currently living through the quietest, fastest extinction event in human history, but it is not happening to animals in a distant rainforest. It is happening on our breakfast plates. Think back to how your own grandparents started their mornings. Breakfast was not an afterthought or a rushed chore. It was the anchor of the day. It was hot, cooked low and slow, and packed with deep, complex flavors that took hours to develop. It was designed to nourish your body and ground your spirit before you faced a hard day of work. Today, the global fast food industry has convinced us that breakfast should be dry cereal, frozen waffles, or a processed egg patty served through a sliding glass window in under 60 seconds. We have been sold a lie that speed equals value, and in exchange, we have given up some of the most extraordinary food traditions ever created. Let us take a journey together to see what we are losing, why it matters so much, and how you can reclaim a better, richer way to start your day before these recipes disappear into the history books forever. Our first stop is Naples, Italy, a city famous worldwide for pizza, but home to a forgotten morning ritual that makes modern espresso look like dishwater. Long before high-pressure espresso machines and corporate coffee shops took over the world, Italians woke up to the sound of a flip pot called a cucumella. This was not a quick push-button process. You had to roast the beans dark, grind them coarsely, assemble the multi-part metal pot, boil the water, and then carefully flip the entire contraption upside down so gravity could slowly pull the water through the grounds, drop by painful drop. While that coffee dripped, families enjoyed a dish called polenta e latte, or hot, creamy cornmeal porridge swirled with fresh whole milk, raw honey, and sometimes a pinch of bitter cocoa or leftover braised greens from the night before.
This is just what I needed this morning.
Can't never go wrong with these red peas.
It was rich, warming, and deeply comforting. Today, if you walk through Naples at 7 in the morning, you will see commuters running into bars, knocking back a shot of scalding espresso in 5 seconds flat, grabbing a pre-frozen croissant filled with industrial chocolate spread, and sprinting out the door. The cucumella sits on antique store shelves, gathering dust. The slow polenta breakfast is gone, replaced by hyper-caffeinated speed. We saved 10 minutes, but we lost the peace of the morning. Now jump across the ocean to Tokyo, Japan. If you visit Tokyo today, you might think the city revolves around convenience stores. Everyone grabs a cold rice ball wrapped in seaweed or a sweet bread roll stuffed with whipped cream. But if you step back just 50 years, a traditional Japanese morning began with the soothing aroma of dashi broth and toasted soybean paste. A proper Japanese breakfast was a masterclass in balance and gut health. It featured a small bowl of steamed rice, a hot bowl of miso soup made with fermented paste and sea vegetables, a piece of salt-grilled salmon with crispy skin, pickled vegetables that took months to ferment, and a freshly cracked raw egg stirred into hot rice until it turned silky and golden. This meal was low in sugar, high in protein, rich in natural probiotics, and designed to give you sustained, steady energy for 8 hours without a mid-morning sugar crash. But modern Japanese work culture demands 16-hour days and instant results. Cooking fish and fermenting vegetables at 6 in the morning does not fit into a tiny apartment kitchen when you have a train to catch in 15 minutes. So, the ancient art of the Japanese home breakfast is dying out, replaced by packaged pastries and canned coffee from vending machines. You might be asking yourself why this matters. Food is just fuel, right? If a protein bar gets you through the morning, what is the big deal? The big deal is that when a traditional meal dies, we do not just lose a recipe. We lose health, we lose connection, and we lose culture. Traditional breakfasts around the world were perfected over hundreds, sometimes thousands of years. They were built around local ingredients, natural fermentation, and cooking methods that made hard-to-digest grains and proteins easy on human stomachs. They contained virtually zero refined sugar, no artificial preservatives, and no seed oils processed at ultra-high heat. Compare that to what lines the cereal aisle in your local grocery store. Modern industrial breakfast food was invented in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, not to nourish your body, but to maximize shelf life, ease mass production, and generate massive profit margins. Sugar, refined white flour, and synthetic additives became the baseline. We replaced real foods that took time to grow and cook with hyper-processed carbohydrates that spike your blood sugar, inflame your gut, and leave you exhausted, hungry, and brain-fogged by 11 o'clock. Consider the classic American breakfast itself. What do most people think of when they imagine an authentic, old-school American morning meal? Many think of bacon, eggs, orange juice, and pancakes. But even that was a heavily marketed illusion created in the 1920s. Before big food corporations reshaped our eating habits, early American breakfasts were wildly regional, incredibly diverse, and deeply resourceful. In the American South, real breakfast was built around stone-ground cornmeal, slow-simmered grits topped with red-eye gravy made from pan drippings and black coffee, and biscuits made with real lard and buttermilk. In New England, families woke up to baked beans that had been simmering in a heavy iron pot in a wood stove overnight, served with dark rye bread and salt pork. Along the coast of the Carolinas, fishermen started their day with Sea Island red peas, rice, and fresh stewed shrimp cooked right on the boat docks. In the Southwest, morning meant slow-cooked pinto beans, fresh handmade flour tortillas, and roasted green chilies wrapped around spiced pork. None of these meals came out of a box. None of them contained ingredients you could not pronounce. They were hearty, whole foods made by human hands using techniques passed down from mothers to daughters and fathers to sons. Today, those regional differences have been flattened out. Walk into almost any diner or hotel breakfast buffet from Maine to California, and you will find the exact same factory-frozen hash browns, the same watery scrambled eggs poured from a carton, and the same sugary maple-flavored corn syrup served in tiny plastic cups. We traded our rich culinary heritage for total uniformity. Let us travel to another place where this battle is being lost in real time, the ancient streets of Beijing, China. For centuries, the morning air in Beijing was defined by the smell of toasted sesame, frying dough, and steaming pots of soybean milk. One of the most famous forgotten breakfasts of China is a dish called Jianbing. It is a thin, savory crepe made from a batter of mung bean and millet flour, spread paper thin on a flat iron griddle. The cook cracks an egg directly over the crepe, scatters scallions and black sesame seeds on top, flips it with lightning speed, slathers it with fermented bean sauce and chili paste, wraps it around a crispy fried cracker, and folds it into a neat package. Takes 2 minutes to make, costs next to nothing, and hits every single sensory note: hot, crispy, savory, spicy, and rich. It is a masterpiece of street culinary engineering. Yet today, local municipal governments in major Chinese cities have been systematically clearing street vendors off the sidewalks in the name of modernization and urban cleanup. In their place, international fast food chains have set up shop on every corner, selling sugary coffees and Western-style breakfast wraps. Young office workers rush past the elderly vendor who has made Jianbing for 40 years, opting instead to order a drive-thru combo on their smartphone. Think about what happens when that vendor shuts down his cart for good. That specific combination of hand movement, temperature control, and secret sauce ratios, honed over 4 decades, vanishes instantly. There is no textbook for street food. There are no corporate manuals storing these techniques in a cloud database. Once the line of transmission breaks between one generation and the next, it is gone forever. It is easy to feel helpless when we look at these massive global trends. It feels like the steamroller of modern life is going to flatten every local tradition, every family recipe, and every slow morning we have left. But here's the secret that big food companies do not want you to realize. You hold all the power. Every single time you decide what to eat in the morning, you are casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. You do not have to accept that breakfast must be a stressful, rushed experience dominated by plastic wrappers and artificial ingredients. You do not have to settle for food that leaves you feeling sluggish and unsatisfied. You can choose to reclaim your morning, step by step, right in your own kitchen. You do not need to wake up at 3 in the morning like Doña Elena to make a change. You just need to shift your mindset. Reclaiming a real breakfast starts with rejecting the idea that morning food must be sweet, instant, and eaten on the go. Look at how the healthiest, longest-living cultures on Earth approach the morning. In places like Greece, Japan, and Costa Rica, breakfast is almost always savory, not sweet. It features real whole grains, healthy fats, quality proteins, and fermented foods. In Costa Rica, the national breakfast is gallo pinto, a delicious mixture of black beans and rice, cooked with onions, bell peppers, cilantro, and spices, served alongside a fried egg, ripe plantains, and a slice of fresh, salty cheese. It is simple, incredibly cheap to make, and packs a massive punch of complex carbohydrates, plant protein, and fiber that keeps your energy stable all day long. You can make a batch of black beans and rice on Sunday night, reheat it in 3 minutes on Tuesday morning, and enjoy a breakfast fit for a king without spending a fortune or wasting time. Or look at the Mediterranean approach. In places like Lebanon and Turkey, breakfast is not a single dish, but a colorful spread of real, unprocessed foods, laid out on small plates. Fresh cucumbers, ripe tomatoes, Kalamata olives, tangy labna yogurt drizzled with extra virgin oil, hard-boiled eggs, and warm flatbread dusted with za'atar spices. There is zero cooking required on busy mornings. You simply chop a few vegetables, open a few jars of real ingredients, and eat food that nourishes every cell in your body. When you start eating like this, something incredible happens. Your palate changes. The ultra-processed, hyper-sweetened breakfast foods you used to rely on start tasting artificial and sickeningly sweet. Your energy levels stabilize because you are no longer riding the violent roller coaster of blood sugar spikes and crashes. Your digestion improves because you are feeding your gut microbiome real fiber and fermented nutrients instead of chemical additives. More importantly, your relationship with time changes. When you sit down for even 10 quiet minutes in the morning to eat real food, you reclaim control over your day before the chaos of the world comes crashing in. You stop reacting to your phone, your email, and your schedule, and you start anchoring yourself in the present moment. The story of forgotten breakfast is not just a sad story about what we have lost. It is an invitation to rediscover what makes life rich, delicious, and meaningful. It is a reminder that the best things in life are often the things we were told to abandon in the name of speed and convenience. The legendary food writer M.F.K. Fisher once wrote that sharing food with another human being is an intimate act that should not be engaged in lightly. That is especially true for the first meal of the day. Breakfast sets the tone for your entire existence. It tells your body whether it is living in a state of chaotic stress or a state of abundance and care. So here's my challenge for you this coming week. I want you to make a conscious decision to kill the instant breakfast. Just for 1 or 2 days, skip the drive-thru. Put away the boxed cereal and the pre-packaged bars. Pick one traditional morning meal that catches your imagination. Maybe it is simmering a pot of real steel-cut oats, low and slow, with a cinnamon stick and fresh berries. Maybe it is making a pan of shakshuka, eggs gently poached in a spicy, aromatic tomato and pepper sauce topped with fresh herbs. Maybe it is making real, authentic corn tortillas from scratch and filling them with scrambled eggs, black beans, and fresh avocado. Take the time to source real ingredients. Turn on some music or listen to the quiet house. Pay attention to the smells, the textures, and the process. Put the food on a real plate. Sit down at a real table and enjoy every single bite without staring at a screen. When you do that, you are doing something revolutionary. You are refusing to let corporate convenience dictate your health. You are keeping a flame alive that has burned for generations. You are remembering what it feels like to be truly nourished. If you found value in this journey today and want to protect the food traditions that make our world so incredible, hit the subscribe button right now. Leave a comment below and tell me about the traditional breakfast recipe your parents or grandparents used to make that you miss the most. I read every single comment, and I want to hear your stories. Share this video with someone in your life who needs to slow down and enjoy a real meal, and click on the next video on your screen to keep exploring the deep, fascinating history of the food that shapes our lives. Take care of yourself, cook real food, and I will see you in the next video.